Hi, my name is Nicole Jacobs, and I'm the Designate Domestic Abuse Commissioner for England and Wales. And I'm really thrilled to be talking to you as members of the Mothers Union and your wide membership and really impressive community work and activism in this area. And so, even better that I'm talking to you about the upcoming 16 days of action as part of the UN Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and Girls. I'm sure I don't have to tell you, because of all of the work that you do supporting refuges and domestic abuse services in so many places, just how hard this year has been for those who are subject to domestic abuse, with lockdown in so many parts of the world, and particularly in the UK, which I would know the most about. I can tell you it's been an incredibly tough year. Our helplines have seen huge increases in people seeking help and support, people who've had so much restriction from being able to reach out to networks of support and advice that they may usually have. So we've seen really big increases in people who are quietly accessing web chats, web pages, emailing to helplines instead of calling, because they're confined in the home with their abuser during these lockdown periods of lockdown. And so now more than ever, we're realizing how much we depend on our domestic abuse services, our multi-agency partnerships who really come together to address this issue. And that very much relates to one of the things that I hope you'll consider doing during your 16 days of activism, which is to reach out and talk to your MP about the domestic abuse bill. So we have a domestic abuse bill. Part of it establishes my role and some of the statutory underpinning of my role. It does many other things. One of the things it does is it creates a statutory duty for refuge or accommodation based provision, which is wonderful news, a huge step forward. But what we could do to make the bill even better is for it to extend to the wider breadth of community based services, which is in fact where most people would access services for domestic abuse. So people who are staying in their home or leaving their home, not going to a refuge, but really need that crisis support. And those services and the statutory duty to fund them is not currently in the domestic abuse bill, and I really think it should be. Part of that extends to a real desire on my part, and many people would agree with me, including bishops in the House of Lords who are really focused on this issue, about people who have no recourse to public funds. So migrant women, people who come maybe on a variety of different visas, a student visa, for example, who, if they're subject to domestic abuse, their options will be limited because they won't have the same recourse to public funds as citizens. So access to a refuge, for example, would be much, much harder. It wouldn't be impossible, but much, much harder because of that. And these are the kinds of things that we can change and address in the domestic abuse bill. And I hope that you'll agree with me on that, given your commitment over the years to local services. And I hope that part of your to-do list during the 16 days will include getting in touch with your MPs or any member of the House of Lords or our bishops in the House of Lords to really show your support for that. I also would encourage you to keep up all of the incredible work you're doing to support local services in your area, making sure to talk to your friends and family and networks about domestic abuse. There's some really great resources online now because of COVID about doing just that. And it's the kind of thing that we need to keep up doing, even more so now as people are facing kind of quite confined winter months with lockdown and for all host of other reasons. And it's the kind of human connection that we we need, just checking in on people for support, making sure that we have an attention to any possible risks that people have in relation to domestic abuse, and really offering support and advice, and just talking about the issue is so powerful to people. So many times, one of the biggest hurdles people have in coming to support is just using that term domestic abuse, identifying that that is indeed what's happening to them. Of course, people know what's happening is wrong and that they don't like it, but connecting that to the term domestic abuse and the connection into services is a really important bridge that we can all help people make. And some of that starts by just talking about it, people realizing that you're someone who knows and cares about this issue and wants to bring it out into the open. So thanks again for everything you will do during these 16 days. Thank you to the Mothers Union for all of your leadership, and community-based support, which is so critical. And I just thank you for the opportunity to be able to talk to you today, and thank you for listening. Have a lovely day and a great 16 days. All the best.